Hey everybody, Marvin here from Blacktop Banter, actually at Blacktop Banter, and in my hands I hold a Dynapack roller, which you don't get to do very often. I've been fortunate enough to see some Dynapack rollers this year and spend some time with Dynapack. Now Dynapack is the official compaction sponsor of Blacktop Banter. Some things about Dynapack and their roller system is the seismic system, which improves compaction by making adjustments every 0.2 seconds. Rather than have a stable compaction style, it will actually analyze a pavement and adjust that compaction. They're at the front of the line, always working on innovation and movement and everything that they can do to help improve the compaction world around asphalt. They have a huge presence online. You can find them, of course, at dynapack.com or on social media at dynapack_North_America or Dynapack North America, depending on where you're looking. Besides that, they're very, very active in our community as well. You can find them at many expos and shows and online, and the team as well. They have a great team there that interacts really well with our community. So if you get a chance, pop over, check them out on social media, check out what Dynapack has to offer. And as always, Dynapack is your partner on the road ahead. Hey y'all, Marvin here from Blacktop Banter. Really quick, just wanted to talk about the 800 Pavement Network. As you can see, we have some lettering there, lettering on our other truck over there, lettering on this truck here. They all say 1-800-Blacktop. We've been using the 1-800-Blacktop number here for the last couple years. It's really been exceptional for us as far as making things click with our branding, and now that we're in another state, those area codes are together. It's worked out fantastically for us. The other thing is that 800 Pavement Network has other advantages. There's group discounts on a lot of the products and materials that we use within our industry. We're part of over 300 different, see that one? Over 300 different contractors that are now using these numbers all over the country. That's combined over $2 billion in gross profits. So if you've been thinking about it or you're curious about it and you're like, well, oh, should I or shouldn't I? DM me, message me, or reach out to 800 Pavement Network. You can find them online through their website. You can call 1-800-Pavement and you'll get them as well. They'd be happy to run you through kind of the advantages and everything else that we've been taking advantage of here at Wiscote and Dubuque Asphalt Maintenance, and how it can benefit you as well. Once again, if you're curious about it at all, you can always DM me. So yeah, 1-800-Blacktop. You can DM me or message me or email me through the podcast or Wiscote or wherever as well. I would love to talk to you about how it has helped us. Hey everybody, welcome back. It's Blacktop Banter. This is episode 95, and we are back from the National Pavement Expo. We are in full conference season, kind of in between here. We will be attending Con Expo this year, and that's where a lot of these larger companies meet and hang out and connect. And I kind of was thinking maybe we should do that pre-Con Expo. So I have a guest here today, which we're hoping to kind of roundabout up a story that we covered or I guess late last year after our interaction with TopCon at Nashville at the Indy race there. If you remember back, we did have a podcast with James Roe, who's the driver of the TopCon IndyCar, and he was telling us about a project, and it sparked my interest. So I reached out to Cedric, our friend at TopCon, and said, hey, can you get me somebody to help me bring in the back half of this story? And he did. So today we have Mark Larranaga, who I think has one of the most badass titles I've ever heard of, Director of Intelligent Paving. If you've been anywhere around Wiscote or Blacktop Banter, you know that we have nobody with that title as far as Intelligent Paving goes. But Mark, I'm going to let you introduce yourself and just kind of give us a little bit of backstory about how you got into the business, and then how long you've been at TopCon as well.
Certainly. Thank you very much, and glad to be on. My name, again, is Mark Larranaga. I've been with TopCon for 17 years. Started with survey and really the land measurement business, and then have moved a couple of times into different segments within TopCon. One of them that was really neat was a part of our software. I headed up our office software and some of our field software that really is kind of I guess the glue behind all of our equipment. And it led me into the paving side, and really it's been just a really good ride as far as it's an industry that is you know embraced technology at the very beginning, but really hasn't jumped into the 3D side. So
Mhm.
it's got a lot of change that's coming. We're seeing a lot of companies are finding that it's harder and harder to get good new hires, and with technology it kind of drives them into this. So it
Right.
has been yeah, it's been really fun to actually educate them and explain all of the different stuff that TopCon offers. We have various stuff from the start of 2D all the way into the 3D that we really focus on. But the industry is hungry for new ideas, new ways, and ultimately, specifications are getting harder and harder to meet. And it's really for us as the public that they're trying to meet these tougher demands. And we as a technology group are excited that we can be a part of that.
Yeah, when I think about that, as we mentioned, your tenure is close to mine in the industry as well. As far as how long you've been with TopCon, you've seen a shift during that time, right? Where we kind of had, we're mixing sand, rock, and oil together and running it through metal and pressing it down, and this is our finished product. Now, if we similar to a world of asphalt, which we were at last year with TopCon, you've seen an industry really embracing technology, right? And they have like simulators, right, and remote controlled backhoes and dump trucks and everything. And then we talk about the software side with the rendering, with you speaking on 2D and 3D. It's really been the last 5 years for sure. I've seen the even the maintenance side where my businesses are, they started to embrace more technology, more software to help with measuring, mapping, rendering, even job costing now and things like that. It's an exciting time. I think you would agree to be in the industry because we have these large companies that do heavy equipment operation and work with raw materials, really starting to embrace technology and put out a product that is finely tuned, highly specified, and it just makes for all around fun. We go from guys with calloused hands, right? Like most of them have calloused hands and crew, to guys that are of a different breed, whether they work with drones or software, technology, coding. We have a full spectrum now of opportunities for all types of people in the industry, correct?
Oh, I would totally agree with everything you said there, and it's a fun time for all of us because we're seeing that the contractor is finding different ways to not only make a better product, but they're also looking at better ways for their company to grow and really to attract young talent into their business. So it certainly is. It is. I could say this. It is probably one of the funnest times in the world as far as being in the asphalt business. And most people would say, well, from a technology group, you guys really think that? We certainly do at TopCon that
Mhm.
we have got a lot of neat tools and stuff we can do that can make a difference. And ultimately, we all drive roads, and we don't want to have construction happening, but when we do, we don't want it to be reconstructed,
Right.
a couple of years after. So we're
Yeah.
trying to help that process.
Yeah, well, you mentioned, that people are saying, well, yeah, you guys are going to say that you're a technology company. We've seen that quite a bit, that it's a fun time and exciting time for anybody, I think, in the industry. You go on Instagram and you see brands like Blacktop Banter or Raised on Blacktop, or all these guys who are taking cool photos or at cool events, hanging out, connecting, right? They've seen Blacktop Banter with TopCon at the Indy races. One thing that we do during the season is right now, obviously it's off season for us here in Wisconsin, a lot of snow on the ground and it's cold out there. Um, is we share a lot of what we do, right? And
Yeah.
that's made it to where we can connect, and where we've been able to touch different audiences and different people on different sides of the industry. But the main thing is still the projects, right? That's what connects us all. The asphalt connects us all, literally connects everybody. Asphalt does, but the projects connect us all. So can you kind of just give us a little synopsis of some of the projects or general projects that you're part of there at TopCon?
Yeah, no, it's great to bring it up. We've had several projects that we work on throughout the year, but some of the more exciting ones, we know, of course, we've done some racetracks. We did the F1 track down in Miami, and so that project entailed us using a smooth ride mill to
Mhm.
actually. What we were doing is correcting the longitudinal profile and getting it to where it's a better surface,
Okay.
and that was a lot of fun. It's a smooth ride in itself is a it's a solution that entails lidar scanning.
Okay.
So you start off with a vehicle driven scanner that goes and gets all of the detail of the surface, and then after we have the surface detail, we can correct it or do anything really to that road that's needed. And a lot of time it could be uh, cross slope correction. It could be smoothness itself, just making it smoother throughout the whole profile. And that's done in software. And once we correct it, we put it into a machine control, such as a mill or paver, either one. But it has gotten very high results as far as what its end product is. And
Okay.
so we did that with the F1 project down in Miami. We're um, we're working on a project in Texas that is doing a similar type of scenario where they're actually on an interstate highway, actually looking at how they can smooth out or fix, um, basically the potting and the pooling of water
Yep.
that we can actually go in there and actually do some correction to. So it's um, it's exciting because the end result is, the driver as well as the contractor, and they end up getting a road that's actually well driven and actually lasts longer. To be honest with you.
Yeah. So and that's the thing, right? If we can do it successfully, under that, granted they're light cars, but they're moving at a high pace with high heat and high speed on the F1 tracks and the Indy tracks and things like that. We can definitely bring that technology to, our regular roads, our interstate roads and things like that. Before we jump away, I want to touch on the LiDAR and what it does. If anybody's heard that word before, most of the time it's on the Discovery Channel or the History Channel when people are scanning for things down below the earth, whether it's hidden treasure or whatever it is that they're looking for. But the LiDAR that you all are using, I'm guessing, is gonna be able to give a picture of the compaction rating of the pavement that's there, existing. Is that correct?
So what the lidar actually gives us is actually what that surface is basically built to, and so we're actually trying to model what that road is exactly doing, instead of what's traditionally done is somebody will go out with the survey crew and they do a 25 or 50-foot cross section, and it's just one point. They'll
Okay.
do a center line, fog line, and then they go up 25 feet or 50 feet and they do the same thing. And you really can't get a depiction of what that road is. This scanner goes in and does millions of points
Okay, it
to
does everything.
actually get a full detail of what that surface is, and
Okay.
understand better what needs to be done to correct it or how to rebuild it to a safer road.
Does it go into the base then, Mark, too, a ways?
No, it's going to just get the surface
Surface? Okay.
information. Yeah, so it's all just surface information. But
Okay.
with it, you can also get your guardrails, you can get barrier walls, all of that.
Okay.
So that stuff is really important because if we're having to reconstruct this, if they want a 2% crossfall as an example, and it can't be because you have a barrier wall, you have inlets or something like that.
Yep.
It gives us that information so that we can make determinations. How do we construct it in a way that's going to be the best
really?
for? Yeah.
So it comes up with the solution after you scan it and put it into the software. It comes up with the solution of where the drainage and things need to go in order to get it to do what you would want it to do on the track.
Yeah, that's correct, because it certainly it gets all that information from the scans, but it has it, and it'll have all that information that says, here's where that inlet is. Here's another drainage, or again, here's a guardrail that we need to make sure that we are putting back in the same manner. And it's really just it's a true model of that road is what it's doing.
So you could mill down 2 inches just out of, we'll just do it. I'll just throw numbers out there because I have no idea the exact process, how it goes, but you could mill down 2, replace 2 on the left side of a bank, but yet put 4 on the right side of the bank and get water to drain the way that you want it to based on the software.
Exactly.
Cool.
Exactly. So it's true variable depth. So
right.
It could go, like you said, 2 to 4, or it doesn't really matter. Those
and then
numbers
the paver
really
follows that too, Mark. The paver will follow that too, and it will adjust the screed depth and things like that on that side.
A lot of times what we do is on the mill, we fix the surface, and then the paver just comes back with a 2-inch material. So it's all fixed with the mill.
Okay.
Yeah. So that the nice part would be we get it with the mill, fix it, get all the corrections done. And then with the paver, we just go and just do basically depth. And that'd be, say, a 2-inch depth or whatever you're putting back in. And so that it can be done in the paver as well. You can do variable depth, sure. But we would hope to do it with the mill. So the material usage would be a lot cleaner with the paver.
I gotcha. Yeah, and then also your compaction is even then as well too, if the paver is putting down an even mat, correct?
That's correct. Yeah. So you have all that done, and instead of doing it vice versa.
Yeah. Yeah, it makes for a cleaner project and more consistency, right?
Correct.
Imagine all the way through. So the question I have then is with TopCon, right? When we go and we're at the events, at the expos and those other things, you don't see a TopCon mill and you don't see a TopCon paver. How does TopCon adapt to using these pavers and using the larger mills and those? How does TopCon retrofit onto these things? Like, are the machines built with TopCon system already in there? Do we add that to there? Like, how does that work with TopCon being part of the machine so that the machine essentially, we put a program into it and it produces this result or this product?
That's a great question, and that's one thing that TopCon has done is we're basically we retrofit all the different machines that are out there, whether it be a brand A, brand B, or brand C. We have the equipment to put on there, so we just go and we fit it, we wire it up, we put all of the components that are needed, the GPS, any different parts and pieces that are needed. And the nice thing is if a company owns 3 or 4 different manufacturers, we can fit all of those different manufacturers, and it can be put to you can share it with the other ones as well. So yeah, we've worked very well. We have a great OEM team, and they actually have a lot of relationships with the different OEMs. And so we have to understand what their hardware is. A lot of times, and nowadays, we can actually fit into the machine's system itself. So we utilize whatever manufacturer's machine is being used, and we just tap into their stuff. So it certainly is. It's a nice fit for the customer, and it makes it for a lot easier setup as far as TopCon's perspective is getting into those.
Well, before I get too far off of topic, going into the geek part of it, because I geek out on that type of stuff and go pick it all apart and ask the questions. It's just cool to think that we have a software that is scanning the surface, putting that into the program. That program being put into the mill reacting to that program, and then to have the results of that put into the paver, and the paver reacting to that program, and then we are rolling it and producing a finished product is just crazy, right? Especially if
It's
anybody, it's just nuts, especially if people would understand that that same company that's doing that is also the one that's creating dental software and programs and things.
it is crazy, and it certainly is. Like you say, you geek out. I think we all do whenever we see it, and we're actually out on a project, watching that machine react to that model and do what it's supposed to do is just incredible. It really is just something that you look at it and you say, gosh, the engineers and all the people behind it that built this they're of course the scientists, and they make us all look good, as I can say.
That's right. That's right. Well, let's talk about the Silverstone project, because I know when James was on, that was one where he was kind of expressing how impressed he was, because uh, after that project, when it was redone with Smooth Ride, he was talking that he put up his fastest times ever, and then a lot of the other drivers were putting up their fastest times ever too. So Silverstone's an iconic track, right, in Great Britain. It has been for a long time. Can we kind of talk about the problems that that track had, and then how it was solved?
Yeah, I mean, certainly it's one of those things where it's like typical projects we face, that they're trying to get a better surface ultimately, and basically the bottom line is you got to figure out through the basically the digital model, how can we get it to where, like you said, you can drive it faster, it's got smoother turns, it's got everything on the
And
on the
it's safer,
straightaway.
right? It's safer.
Exactly. That's the big piece of it. Yeah. So through the modeling software, you can actually do all kinds of different analytics to actually make different choices, to actually go in there and say, ultimately, we feel this is going to be the best fit for us to actually have basically a road, and this being a track that would be the ultimate driving experience, and that's really where it came down to. So when James says he had his best times there, obviously we're really we're fond of that, because we had a big push in that. So
Yeah.
you go in there and you try to fix different turns, you try to fix different straightaways,
Yeah.
that the cars are not, like you said, they're not leaving, they're not having a bounce or anything like that. Everything's hugging that road, and that ultimately gives you a better ride.
Does the software and different things, do they take into account different materials that are sourced in different areas through the different pavement? Like, that has to be that, so that's not necessarily a quality control, but just a consistency control with different aggregates and things. Because I imagine in some areas you don't get that cut edge limestone that is absorbent, as well as um granite, a crushed granite or something like that. Does that go into effect at all at these different tracks around the world and stuff?
We don't take, unfortunately, we don't take any of the material into account for the. We're just basically saying, based on what this surface is,
Mhm.
if you put down the right material, and obviously that'd be a second. You make a great point there, because material is a huge piece of this. I
Yeah.
mean,
I mean,
we can
sizing you
just,
can do easy, right? Hey, we're going to use X amount
yeah.
with X amount of sand and whatever, and it's going to get us this surface. You can do that, but I was just curious about what it's made up of. I can make you a square, an 8x8 square, but whether that 8x8 square is made from wood, metal, glass, or whatever,
Right.
different. But that's what I was curious about.
Yeah, no, we obviously leave that up to the
Contractor.
engineers, yeah, the contractor, to make sure that they're putting it down, and
Mhm.
and ultimately, like say in Wisconsin, a
Mhm.
material that you guys have that's going to take on cold weather and hold up to that kind of temperature,
Mhm.
versus something that maybe be in say in Arizona, that
Mhm.
wouldn't have to have that kind of
Mhm.
different structure,
Correct.
is certainly something we push on to the contractor. But we can give them with the software ultimately the best surface ending result you can get based on whatever material they're going to use.
That's cool. Cool. Well, if there was one thing, you've had a good time, a good amount of time at TopCon and in the industry, and the things you've seen and the challenges you face and things are overcome. What would be one thing that you would like people to know about TopCon and intelligent paving and technology and that type of stuff in general?
Yeah, so at TopCon, what we try to do is we try to innovate and we try to stay ahead of the curve as far as technology. We're certainly sometimes bleeding edge, and that's not always the best. But I'll tell you, it's really our culture is that we want to try things to make a difference in the market. And with paving, we've been in it since the beginning. So we were one of the first to start with the sonic systems. We acquired AgTech back in the 90s, and that was really the first machine control that TopCon was associated with. And we've just continued to grow and evolve into different technologies that go into paving. We back in 2000s, we did millimeter GPS that was used on paving equipment,
Wow.
which is still a really innovative technology that we're very fond of. And then now with Smooth Ride, again, another one that is really taken a major leap in what we can do out there. As I've mentioned, being able to model everything and actually build designs that are correcting roads that are needing to be fixed because they're not lasting as long, but secondly, it's really the safety piece of it. And you brought that up, Marvin, a couple of times. If we can have a safer road, we all know what that means. It's not just huge for us as the driving public; it's huge for everybody. So, yeah, we've always been out there on the front of technology and trying new things, and I can say that in not only of our asphalt division, but even in our construction and survey pieces of the market, we try to come out with things that we feel will make a difference. We see that in our world, there's people that are retiring. The experts, if you want to say, they're leaving because of course they've come to where they're wanting to go to retirement. So we got to build that workforce up quicker, faster. And I think what we've done with our technology is certainly aided in that effort.
Yeah, I think so too. And that's kind of what one of our highlights of what we like to do here at Blacktop Banter is to put a magnifying glass on the parts of the industry that are fun, that are innovative, that are exciting, that shows that, hey, we're not just, shoveling and looting and rolling blacktop anymore. We're taking advantage of technology that they've seen. They can hold video game controllers and fly drones over and get scans and images and all these things now too. It doesn't just have to be that. There's a place for everybody in our industry. And I really like the idea of thinking that I'm big into sci-fi and futuristic and that type of stuff as well. I like the idea of thinking that my paver is running off a software program and I could run it with a remote control if I wanted to, and it go through and lay this mat out. And then also I have a GPS roller, right, that is completely rolling.
Right.
Is perfect and laying things out. I like that. I know that scares a lot of people, but to me, it's really fun and really cool to see because that means we are going to have some more downtime. We're going to have a better product and we're going to have cooler stuff in the future going forward in this industry.
I certainly would concur with what you're saying there. It's like you said, sometimes it gets a little bit mind-boggling and maybe blows people out of the water thinking we're going to be doing this stuff, but it's certainly coming, and
Yeah.
it's helping all of us. I mean, ultimately, for a contractor, they're looking at how they can get more work done at a better pace.
Mm-hmm.
And that certainly is part of it is this stuff we call, like you said, video gaming and stuff of that nature. So yeah, it's definitely there.
Yeah, it's gonna be neat to pave virtually in VR with augmented reality.
Yeah.
But I can't wait till we get there. But it sure would be nice to be in my office doing a Blacktop Banter interview and know that we're seal coating a parking lot in the same town and no one be there, right? The trucks and the machines be there doing it because we ran a program. But
Right.
we'll see. We'll see if I see that in my lifetime or not. But real quick, before we go, I do want to do a pod deck with you, and we'll draw a card and see if we can get a fun answer. The social, especially on Instagram, is at TopCon today with TopCon, and if you type in TopCon positioning systems, you can find everything there. And very exciting. I seen James Roe signed with Andretti Racing, so TopCon will be with the team and with the car again this year. So big things, a lot of fun this year. I got a feeling we're going to be working with TopCon again this year, which I'm very excited about. It always makes for a fun time. All right, Mark, here we go. No pressure.
I'm ready.
Okay. All right, I don't know what the words in those ones, so we're going to pick a different one. All right. If you could ask one person one question and they had to answer truthfully, who would it be and what would you ask?
Huh.
Living, dead? I don't know. That's a good question.
I guess maybe you brought up a good one. I guess I'd ask our president Ronald Reagan a question,
Yep.
and I would ask him how he was so successful in working with Congress and getting them to, be bipartisan as far as laws and ideas that we struggle with today. I think that a lot of our presidents, I give them credit, no matter who they are, they try their best, but it certainly seems like there's a lot of just divide within it, and it seemed like he was somewhat successful. I mean, in my time, I believe he did a really nice job of going on both sides of the parties, and I would ask him that to hopefully help not only the president but the rest of the House and the Senate to just figure things out, because it seems like we get deadlocked in things that should be either figured out or moved on with. So that would be my thing. I guess that'd be a question I would ask.
It's a good question and a good point, right? Because we're in an industry where we know we get a lot more done when everybody works together. And
that's right, and it certainly helps us exactly especially with the roads that we're having to build, and just the funding that's being given there. So I would hope that we could get a little bit of support from both sides.
Well, I know you've seen it. I've been on projects where you got guys just wanting to throw down and go at it, but yet
right.
no matter what, the project still gets done.
Yes,
everything still gets done. We figure it out, and we get stuff done. And as I was saying, you get a lot more done together than you do apart. But times change, things change, and I get it. But if we can do it in the paving industry, in the asphalt industry, gosh, I gotta imagine other people can do it too, because we stand pretty firm with what we believe in this industry too. So
yeah, certainly the case. So
very cool.
No, it's just one of those things. I think we'll get by, but it seems like there's time that gets paused up because it gets held up for whatever reason. But hey, things are always better tomorrow, right?
That's right. Wake up and take another shot at it all over again. Very cool.
Yes, sir.
Well, Mark, I really appreciate you spending some time with us today and talking about everything that goes on at TopCon and what they're doing. I'm always excited to see it. It's very cool to even just get a glimpse of the projects and some of the insight and how they do what they do with their technology and smooth ride technology to make things better for pavements around the world. The racing aspect of it is awesome and totally interesting, and I love that aspect of it because it makes for fun paving projects. But at the same time, TopCon's out there making roads safe, making them last longer, making them be better rides, and just making an overall better product. And we appreciate you joining us today and sharing that with us, my friend.
Hey, I really was an honor for me to be on, and appreciate your time, and thank you for the opportunity.
Hey, no worries. So for myself and for Mark and for TopCon and Blacktop Banter, this has been episode 95. And as always, we speak asphalt.
Thank you, guys.
Cool. You're all set.
Appreciate it, Marvin.
Hey, no worries. No worries. It was fantastic. I really appreciate it. It was a good time. And hopefully we get to come up with some other projects here coming up. And